How's it going, everybody? Some of you might have seen that I made a YouTube poll about what character needed a rework the most, and I did include Nusha in it. Sometimes it's not strictly about a character being bad, but what also plays a huge factor is whether one of the core mechanics of a character is actually working. And in Nusha's case, it's, well, hit and miss would be understating it, I guess. Let's go back a few years to when the character was released. During those times, one sentence that was commonly used was, "Blocking is too strong." Attacks were slower, the amount of tools was limited, and staring contests were quite common. So the attempt at introducing a character that can punish blocking was a valid one. As so often back then, the fact that traps were reactable didn't particularly help, so we can chalk that up as a failed experiment. Nusha also always sported some of, if not the lowest pick rate among all heroes. I'll link to the latest blog post that mentions this if I don't forget. Overall, this didn't get much better over the years. Traps aren't reactable anymore for the majority, but the problem is that they are countered by so many things. When people struggle with them, other players usually suggest, just change your guard or emote or unlock. Let's be honest, nobody really emotes them. That's just a BM move that's extremely unsafe and only slightly better than actually unlocking. Nobody really has their finger on the emote button during a fight. And you're not reacting to the trap if you don't have your finger on that button. It's simply inefficient. But it's not about the actual counters, it's more about the random button pressing that also counters them. It's one of the few instances where spam is actually a viable solution to something, or just dodge around. There is a timing where early dodging evades both the trap and letting the heavy fly. Many dodge attacks get extended iframes, and deflect frames being so short on side dodges leads to traps basically never catching them. And let's not kid ourselves, people dodge attack like there is no tomorrow. I've expressed my annoyance of them quite often, especially since you can dodge out of light hit stun to avoid follow-up attacks. Another thing, traps did catch option selects a lot. Since they were mostly used to parry, the extra heavy input used to always be caught by the trap. But that small advantage is obviously no more at this point. In contrast to that, we do have a similar move that is extremely viable, and that is Aramusha's Ring the Bell. It functions pretty much the same way, it is a soft feint from heavies. It's only neutral ones in his case, but it doesn't matter all that much for this comparison. The big difference that stands out is that it's not beatable by random button presses. A wrong timed parry, a light interrupt attempt, all that simply gets grabbed. All these things traps loses to, Ring the Bell punishes. It is also a much better ganking tool. There is no accidentally moving your guard away against Ring the Bell. Aramusha will still land it and confirm damage that way. If you ever tried ganking with traps, you know that it's not just the tight timing that makes it harder, it's that simple inaction can counter it, especially from reflex guard heroes. Traps also feed considerably more revenge. It's understandable since it does more damage, but that's not the sole reason here. Both moves have the initial grab, which feeds 30, and then the damage, which is 12 for Ring the Bell and 22 for traps. Once again, the ease of avoiding traps are their downfall. To avoid the Ring the Bell, you need to dodge it. Revenge is only being fed on dodges if the move is dodged with iframes. So traps naturally feed revenge more often since they have all these options of being avoided. And all of them, except dodges, do feed the full amount. In short, they are unreliable at actually landing, but very reliable at feeding revenge. To sum it up, traps are sadly a failed experiment, like mentioned before. Nusha's whole kit revolves around traps, and I guess her 400 MS lights. Fighting one is a weird experience. Fighting as her is an aggravating one. Not being able to use such a big portion of your kit or seeing it countered by sheer incompetence of your opponent is beyond frustrating. Should she ever be up for a testing ground, I hope that we see a more fleshed out version of the trap mechanic. I love the idea behind it, but sadly it doesn't really work at the moment. In the end, it might even be way too strong if it worked properly, considering the damage Anusha can dish out when successfully landing her moves. I personally am terrible when using her. I tend to get made fun of by my teammates as they usually expect to lose when I pick the hero. So a change to her kit can't come soon enough. Let me know how your experience is with her, both playing as and against her, because opinions vastly differ here. Having said all that, hope the video was interesting. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.